It is 6:33 p.m. Welcome to the November 19th, 2025 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. This is a hybrid meeting with commissioners, city staff, and members of the public participating at the Arlong County Recreation Center in accordance with public health guidelines for in-person meetings and members of the public participating remotely. I would first like to introduce the commissioners and the staff present. We have Commissioner Kevin Dawkins, Vice Chair Joseph Grass, myself, Chair Juan Lee, Commissioner Shundle Patel, Commissioner Michelle Sherman, and Commissioner Justin Penwood. Staff present includes Library and Community Services Supervisor Tricia Mullen, Management Analyst Ashley Dixon, and I believe we have Nick Shagda participating remotely today. Ashley will be helping facilitate the meeting. Ashley, will you please take a moment and provide instructions to the commission and members of the public on how the meeting will proceed?
Yes, thank you, Chair. For members of the public who are attending this meeting virtually and wish to provide public comment, after the chair calls for public comment on the item you wish to speak on, please engage the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. For those who are calling in from a landline or cell phone, please press *9 to raise your virtual hand. For members of the public attending in person, there are speaker cards available on the table. Please complete one and turn it into staff before public comment is called for the item you wish to speak on. If there are a large number of public commenters, the timing that may be adjusted by the chair in order to allow everyone a chance to comment. When your turn for public comment has arrived, staff will unmute you. And with that, I'll return the meeting to the chair.
Moving to item C1, approval of the October 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes. Ashley, do we have public comment on this item?
Thank you. Are there any public comments on item C1? No public comment.
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed. Would any commissioner like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Sure, I motion.
1 second. And there's a motion to approve the minutes from the October 22nd, 2025 meeting. Commissioner Dawkins, how do you vote?
Approve.
Vice Chair Grass, how do you vote? Chair Lee, how do you vote? Commissioner Patel, how do you vote?
Approve.
Commissioner Sherman, how do you vote? Approve. And Commissioner Van Buren, how do you vote?
Approve.
The motion passes unanimously.
The next item is item C2, preparing a draft for the 2026 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting calendar. Staff has a brief presentation on this item.
Great, thank you, Chair. So staff recommends that the Parks and Rec Commission prepare a draft meeting calendar. The Parks and Recreation Commission meetings are typically at 6:30 on the fourth Wednesday of each month. Occasionally, there are major holidays during that time frame, specifically November and December, such as this year. So we want to just go through the calendar, and Ashley has brought that up. So the rust color is city holidays, and then the bluish color or teal color, thank you, actually, are the proposed commission meetings on the fourth Wednesday, or we've already looked at potential other dates depending on the month. So it looks like each month is the same until we do get down to the November and December timeframe. And staff proposes that we meet on the 18th of November, that week before the Thanksgiving timeframe. And in December, we're suggesting that we do the combination meeting with the Library Commission on that Monday, the 21st in December, just like we would be doing for this year. So we'd love to hear some feedback from the commission on this.
Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item C2? No public comment.
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed. And it is open for commission discussion.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, same as last year, yeah. Any conflicts? No, okay. Anyone would like to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion to approve the draft meeting calendar for the 2026 Parks and Recreation Commission. Commissioner Dawkins, how do you vote?
Approve.
Vice Chair Grass, how do you vote?
Approve.
Chair Lee, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Patel, how do you vote?
Approved.
Commissioner Sherman, how do you vote? Approved. And Commissioner Van Buren.
Approve.
Motion passes.
Okay, the next item is item D1, an information update on the National Park and Recreation Society Commission for accreditation of park and recreation agencies, CAPRA, I believe. Staff has a brief presentation on this item.
Thank you, Chair. Perfect, exactly. So staff recommends that the PRC receive an update on the departmental goal to achieve accreditation from NRPA. NRPA is Commission for Accreditation of Park and Recreation Agencies, or CAPRA. Just a little bit of background on this. This is an existing item on the 24 through 26 strategic plan. Task 3.1.f is to achieve CAPRA accreditation by fall 2026. The PRC did review this as an item August 20th, 2024. So CAPRA offers the industry standard national accreditation of parks and recreation agencies. Accreditation is a valuable measure of an agency's overall quality of operations, infrastructure, efficiency, management, accountability, and service to the community. CAPRA accreditation is built around qualitative standards to comprehensively evaluate multiple key aspects of recreation agency operations. The current 2027, the new edition of the standards, include a total of 67 standards, including 37 fundamental standards and 30 non-fundamental standards. Standards are organized in sections such as operations, planning, human resources, and financial management. To achieve accreditation, an agency must meet all 37 fundamental standards and at least 24 of the 30 non-fundamental standards. There are currently 220 accredited agencies in the United States and only 6 in California. So it's a big feat for agencies in California. The Menlo Park applied, and we're now looking at accreditation in fall 2027 because of the beta standards and standards we had to extend to the goal here. And in process, the next steps are that once one or more staff attend accreditation training, that we develop a self-assessment report and narrative descriptions of compliance for CAPRA standards. We present the self-assessment to the CAPRA review team or the CRT, and then we host the CRT members for virtual or an in-person review of the standards and a visit, and then attend an in-person or virtual hearing during the NRPA annual conference. So that's kind of the process. So just wanted to kind of pass that by the commission tonight for review and update.
Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Do you have any public comment for item D1? No public comment.
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed and we'll open the item for commission discussion.
I'll just say, I've said before, I love it that staff has applied for this process, and it's great to kind of put yourself out there and maintain a high standard and communicate with your organization. And so, kudos to the staff for doing this. I think it's a really good idea.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry. Agreed.
And there's no local agencies that have done this. I've kind of checked around. The most local is Roseville. They just got accredited this last October.
Wow.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And one in Germany.
Oh, I think I saw the map earlier today, yeah. Great.
There are no other comments. We'll move on to the next item, which is item D2. An update on the community fun run. Staff has a brief presentation on side of it.
Great, you again, Chair. So yeah, we'll just have a brief update on the planning for the fun run event for April 2026. And the PRC formed an ad hoc subcommittee on June 25th of this year. The subcommittee or the ad hoc committee has met with city staff on September 9th and October 14th to move forward in the planning process. During those meetings, the two items that were looked at are two potential routes that use Belhaven Community Campus as the start and that have the fewest impacts to local residents, and that includes the Bedwell Bayfront Park. The two route options were reviewed by Public Works, Police Department, and Emergency Services staff for their feedback, and the proposed route is approximately 6 kilometers, so we're kind of reframing the title of the route as a fun run. And that would, that route would minimize the need for road closures. So that was kind of why that route was chosen. The ad hoc committee also discussed potential opportunities for sponsors for the event, reviewed the sponsorship policy, and created a sponsorship guide for the event. They're looking at kind of what's next for sponsorships, and really exciting to do that. So thank you. I do want to recognize the ad hoc committee and just the PRC for their support of the event. It's really kind of framing up, so it's exciting. The next committee meetings along with staff are December 9th, January 6th, and February 10th. Hopefully the final meeting is March 10th or something else in April. So really exciting times for the department, and we support we appreciate the support. Yes.
That says 5 kilometers.
That's the original, yeah.
Oh, is it different now?
Do you have that updated map actually? If we don't have.
Is it online?
Oh, I'm sure it happens, great, I was curious, it was 5 or 6.
We can
It's 6.
say that.
Did for sure.
Start off that.
Yeah, I think Harrison actually also, sorry. Is that the?
That's it.
Is it, okay.
Yeah.
Ashley, do you have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item D2? No public comment?
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed, and we will open the item for commission discussion. I'm sure you might know this, but I think Harrison posted a link to the event page, but it's no longer available.
Yeah, that we can provide that updated link to the ad hoc subcommittee and to the commission at large. That event page was a little premature, so we just have a basic event page for the event that we can send out.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering if it's helpful to kind of show it now for members of the commission as well as the public.
Thank you. Ashley, do you have access to that?
Let me see.
Great.
And while they're pulling that up, I think for folks who may listen or are listening, I think we are actively looking for sponsors for the event, as well as much community participation as possible, whether it be by vendors and of course, runners of all ages and abilities. This is the inaugural event, should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. So yeah, please contact us if you have any leads on any of those fronts. And I think this event page should be kind of the gateway for sign up, information, everything going forward, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. So just looking at this page so that in case there's people that aren't looking directly at it. This is just the general page with the general information. We will update the information on this page. And then it does have the information regarding sponsorships, There's different tiers for sponsorships. The sponsorship guide is linked on this page, with the city policy in reference to event sponsors. And then there's an interest form if there are any potential sponsors that are interested in supporting the event. We're happy to take those forms. Yes.
It says that check back soon will add details on dates and goodies and times and course map. But it doesn't say add details on the price, and if you go up to the top of the right, it says the cost is free.
We will take a look at that and see. I don't believe that the event is going to be free, so we'll update that. Thank you for pointing that out. And in reference to registration, that's where
Yeah.
the quotes would be, so. Thank you.
Will there be promotion around the event?
Absolutely. Yeah, as soon as we have the cost and the registration information, we'll get more promotional information out. We can talk about those specifics with the ad hoc committee, and also add it to this page. There's various ways. We have a newsletter, you know, we could potentially put up a banner, though I think that space is already booked. There's a lot of options that we can use. We do want to recognize that we're kind of using the goal number of, you know, we're expecting about 200 in anticipation of growing the event, but we're happy to have, you know, anyone in the community join us this year, so, or next year.
Do we have a logo or anything like that yet?
Yeah, I just spoke with Harrison today about that logo for the medals and the shirts. He's working on something now. He's gonna be working with marketing to get that put together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I believe, there was one outstanding issue of using the Meta Bridge. Is that cleared up or is
I
that?
think we're still working on it.
So I sure got one comment about the photo. It shows Bedwell Park and like a hill, but the route is gonna be flat, so.
Correct.
So I'm just wondering about the photo that some runners might think, uh-oh, it's gonna be up the mountain run up at Bedwell, just a random thought.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We can kind of look at the photo as we're rolling that information out more and to entice those that, you know, will want to use a flat route. So definitely something we looked at when we were planning the route. So thank you for pointing that out.
Do you happen to have any good photos of Bedwell Vapor Park of the flat trail area?
Oh yeah, I got a bunch, so yeah, I can shoot you something, so I'm not at all.
Alright,
There you go.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, moving on to the next item, which is item D3, Library and Community Services Department Statistics and Activities. That will provide a brief presentation on this item.
So I don't really have a presentation, but just a couple of call outs for this, department's updates. The Halloween event attendance, we saw a really nice turnout this summer and an increase in attendance across all Halloween events. So for Halloween Hoopla, it increased by 500 attendees, which is up 33%. And after talking to staff, they said that was a very low estimate, so it was probably even higher than that, which is funny. Trunk or treat increased by 44%. They actually ran out of candy and had to go borrow some from gymnastics and bring it over. So they were very nice to share, and it all worked out, but even more expected for next year. So a lot of success for our events planner, Jen Mosso, great job for her doing that. And then Pumpkin Splash, where Trisha works with the pool on a wonderful event, that did increase by 10 additional attendees. However, space for that is always limited, so we don't have as much room to grow. So really good attendance there as well. With winter community events, we have a new event coming up. Last year, we did a very small lighting ceremony at the Elgin Community Campus. It's not like a formal tree lighting, but there are some lights that go up, and so we do a lighting for those. And someone suggested that perhaps we should make that into like a mini event. It is on a Monday, so it probably won't have the same turnout as some of our other events. But that one will just be cocoa, a little small lighting ceremony, and then some mini churros made by our nutrition coordinator. So if you're able to make it to that event, that'd be lovely. Please join us. And then the last call out is the spot survey update. We had a really low turnout on that, only 7 responses so far. Much lower than we were hoping for, so we are gonna extend that a little bit and see if we can increase the responses on that. I don't really have anything else to call out. Oh, winter enrollment is coming. December 6th for Menlo Park residents and December 10th for non-residents. We do have some exciting new classes. We have boxing at Bellevue Community Campus and bird watching out at Bedwell Paper Park. Yes, you know what food is right. That's all from me.
Ashley, do we have any public comment on this item?
Are there any public comments on item D3? No public comment.
Thank you. With that, public comment is closed and the item is open for commission discussion.
I have one comment about the, just the pickleball court, surveys, so, maybe instead of getting people to fill out forms, I wonder if we could just like observe what's going on in quarters to collect data some way else, or I don't know, the ranger just started dropping by the other parks yet, but yeah, I don't know if we thought of any other way of determining how much usage there is.
Yeah, we kicked around a few ideas. I think someone in here even mentioned, that could we purchase data, like cell phone data? But that wouldn't tell us really what we wanna know, whether or not they're playing pickleball and tennis and what times and days. But if there's other thoughts around it.
Yeah, it is.
And just a quick update, thank you, Ashley, and thank you for the question, Vice Chair. In the past, prior to the addendum to pickleball in reference to the Parks and Recreation Facility Master Plan, there was an effort by staff to go out like every hour and take data from the courts, like total numbers of pickleball users on those courts and total number of tennis users on those courts at Milan. So we did pull that data previously, so we can, potentially look at that as an option.
Okay. Then we've got reservation data too for some of the courts, right?
Those are for tennis.
Just for tennis.
We don't do reservations for pickleball.
Right.
Yeah.
Lisa would tell us maybe something about a couple of courts, but.
Potentially, yes,
Tennis.
yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. I know, this pickleball and tennis update was originally on the agenda for tonight. Previously, like at the end of the last meeting and stuff, I thought there'd be more marketing. But I personally, I'm sure everyone else have received a couple of emails from some pickleball players. And concerned residents, with some items. For this meeting about pickleball in particular. That regarding Nealon Park, so I don't know if maybe I should try to forward that spot survey.
Yeah. So what I might do, or what I might suggest is, we do get some comments and questions and suggestions come our way. But if those comments and suggestions are coming to the commission and there's not a way for the commission to address those, I might suggest that they forward those to staff so staff can address the questions and comments and, understanding that we may have already received it, but we'll reach out again. But definitely want to make sure that the commission knows that we are a resource to support that.
And as far as agenda, to get here, how about, as far as agendizing it, I wanted to talk about that at the agenda portion,
Sure.
maybe next about. Making sure it's on the schedule.
Great.
Any other comments? Okay, well, I guess then we can then move on to the last item, which is item D4, the tentative agenda calendar.
So this is just an opportunity for the commission to to take a look at the tentative agenda calendar, I just wanna point out, we don't have a presentation per se, but I do wanna point out, that we appreciate that, you know, the commission takes the time to identify things that we wanna bring to, you know, to the forefront, and recognize that staff will look and see if there's an update, or, you know, a worthy update and action that we're looking for. So with that, please feel free to give your feedback on this. We're nearing the end of the calendar year, and December is that year in review and kind of that opportunity for the commissions to come together and host a thank you and an open house, so.
And yeah, regarding the pickleball and racket sport and tennis on the agenda, so we did have it placed on the agenda. It didn't appear on the final agenda before this meeting, and what happened is there is. Sometimes there is a meeting that traditionally takes place with this commission and other commissions, so we haven't done it much, where the chair and the vice chair will meet with staff, like finalize the agenda before it goes out. And the purpose of that meeting is it's like staff, there might be a report that's scheduled for the next meeting and maybe a presenter is not ready, or staff wants some more time. So that discussion didn't happen this month. And Supervisor Mullen was out also, so there is, so I think tennis and pickleball kind of got dropped off the calendar. And what I want to propose going forward is just having a standard pre-meeting, which commissions do with, which is traditionally with the chair, the vice chair, myself, and staff a couple days before the agenda is supposed to be published, and then we can double check if we're gonna drop something from the agenda or not. So, and staff that, you know, Supervisor Mullen, that sounds good to you.
That sounds great, and we can look at, you know, a frequency and when that happens. It's called an agenda review meeting, so we can definitely make sure that that happens.
Yeah, Shirley, yeah, sound good to you?
Yeah, I think that, you know, in terms of process, it's a good process, but I think, what may be more relevant here is the fact that the community's voice and concerns about pickleball are not as loudly expressed here because it isn't the agenda item as we previously made it, tried to make it. So I know emails are being sent to both commission members, staff constantly about, you know, just improving the quality of pickleball services offered by the city of Menlo Park here, but at the same time, I feel like it's our job here to amplify those voices as much as possible. So even if there is a missing staff report, I think it should still just be kept on the agenda, and there is no, if there is not much discussion generated from that agenda item, well, we could just move on, right? But at the very least, I think if we put in the effort to add it to the agenda, it should stay on there. Until the commission says otherwise or votes otherwise, but maybe this process will kind of help that, kind of fine tune that going forward.
Yeah, I certainly want to give staff a chance to have a voice to really, you know, you guys are, you run everything, which is great. So it's really important that everything's prepared for the next meeting, and we definitely want to hear at the last minute, like, okay, these one or two things are not going to be going off, and, you know, then the chair and I could decide with you, okay, let's push something off our meeting. I think that's important to do if we have to. But then we can also confirm that we do want something on the agenda as well. And, you know, regarding this issue, I just want to just have discussion. I don't think we're going to come to any conclusions, but it's been 2 years since this commission had pickleball, tennis, racket sports on the agenda. And I'm hearing from the community frustration that we're not taking this up. So I just want to have a meeting and give people a chance from the community to just voice their concerns. And that's just the beginning of a process. We might not get anything, we won't get anything done, but I do want to hear from the community, you know, just their concerns and get their feedback. And if it's on the agenda, people will show up. And I think we're getting emails now because it was going to be on the proposed agenda. People watch that, but then it didn't get published 72 hours before the meeting. So then, hearing from people like, wait, what happened? I thought it was on the agenda. So I think we'll just have this meeting with staff beforehand, a couple days before, and then just double check that, we've got the agenda all set.
And before we wrap things up, Nick has been raising his hand.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Nick, are you able to hear us and talk?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I'm in.
Okay, great. Yeah, point well taken. Sorry, we did miss the agenda planning meeting for this month, and that's on us. The original pickleball item that was on the agenda wasn't, to my understanding, like a full conversation about racket sports in Menlo Park. It was to report out the results of that spot survey. And when we didn't get enough results to be statistically significant, we got 7 results. We got 7 respondents. We decided not to put it on the agenda because we just folded it into the department updates. If we're going to do a full crack it open, let's talk about racket sports in Menlo Park, staff are going to need some time to prepare for that. Because if you remember the lead up to the last addendum to the facilities master plan was several months of work to get there. And then the council decided not to go in that direction. So I would just like to be clear with the commission what we're going to do for pickleball and tennis, because I don't want to give the public the wrong idea that we're putting something actionable on the agenda when we're not. We're just kind of serving as a forum for people to talk about pickleball and tennis. That's a different thing, and I think we'd have to word that really carefully so people understood what was going on when they showed up to the meeting. I don't want to give people false expectations that we're going to do something when we're not prepared to do something.
Great, and I think that's fair, and I think I mentioned in an email, I don't want staff to feel put on the spot and then like, wait, we're supposed to present something, so I totally get it. So my thinking on this, and Nick, is just we have a meeting where we just solicit feedback from the public and we just have a public discussion about it in the commission. And then we can just, I would not expect data from staff, and we could word it that way. And then we could just, at that point, have a discussion with staff in public and say, okay, what can staff do and study for the next couple months and get back to us on? So I'd rather do 2 steps. I'd rather, just have a discussion, agendize it, and we could label it just, feedback from public on pickleball, tennis, just start the discussion. And at that point, have an open discussion with staff about what do you know, and how, what can you study and when can you come back to us? So does it sound okay to do 2 steps like that?
Just a Brown Act reminder about public comment and sort of like the fairness around the way it works.
Yes.
If we're agendizing pickleball just for people to come and comment publicly,
Right.
that really shouldn't be an agenda item. That really should just be general public comment that anybody who has any sort of concern about anything to come and speak about. If we're gonna agendize an item, then the best thing to do would probably just to bring a presentation with like a pickleball update.
Right.
And that would kind of let people know where we're at, what's been done with pickleball, and then receive public comment on that.
But
But also being careful for commissioners not to have a 2-way dialogue, just to receive the comments, and take in the feedback from the community.
Right.
Let's be careful not to violate the Brown Act by responding back.
Yeah, that sounds great. So, could we agendize it with the other goal of having a discussion amongst the commission on just about how to proceed in terms of interacting with city staff and asking city staff to study the issue? Because I'd like to talk to staff in the full meeting, not following the Brown Act, to just say, okay, what could you study? What kind of data could you pull for us? And then direct staff at that meeting on what to do to come back to us with data.
Yeah, so maybe Just trying to listen to you guys. So I think maybe it's helpful to take Ashley's suggestion there and ask staff for an update on pickleball because there have been multiple initiatives, soundproofing, for example, community noise, and striping, and things, you know, even trash can installation, etc. So maybe we could get an update on those particular efforts,
Okay.
and then have that as an agenda item. And folks can then comment however they please once we have that on the agenda. Yeah.
And that's something that maybe you guys can finesse the details about in the agenda setting meeting. But just with that, I'm very listening.
Okay, so at the agenda meeting would be okay if the chair and I discuss with staff what data you could collect, so we could have that as an offline discussion and ask you, and then you could tell us. At this point, it would take X amount of months to give us a report on those items.
Well, tonight we can talk about what month we're looking at potentially, and then once we have the draft agenda together, we would be looking at what the updates are, right, from city staff. And then, you know, the conversation, and actually chime in if you will, the conversation will be around the updates, and then we would take public comment.
Right.
Right, so, and then, you know, from there, there may be an update that staff needs to come back to. We would not be directed, you know, we would, in the meeting with the chair and vice chair, with staff, we would just be talking about the agenda items.
Okay.
And the agenda.
Sorry, another technicality. We do want to be careful not to extend like we don't want to go too far outside the purview of what the commission is allowed to do. And I think, if I recall correctly, it's like direct 1 hour's worth of work or not more than 1 hour's worth of work for staff, just to be careful that like the resources are used in a specific way.
Sure.
So we would just want to be mindful of that.
No
We
problem.
can just add that to a certain month and then see where we land with the spot survey and, you know, any of the updates.
Okay, so then,
You know, it may be that, if I may, I'm sorry, jumping in here. It may be that Vice Chair Grass and Chair Lee could meet with Tricia and I in between now and say the January meeting, because December is probably not going to have anything substantive on it. The December meeting is really kind of a year in review joint meeting. It doesn't really have a lot of substantive items on it. And then like sometime between now and I know it's hard to get anything done anything between now and the holidays, but if we could maybe have a planning meeting for that January meeting and have it a little earlier than we normally would so that we can talk about some of these issues in a little more depth. I think that would be great.
that sounds good, Shirley,
Yeah, I just would like to add it again to let's get future topics.
yeah,
For January,
Yeah, pickleball update from staff on non-capital improvement initiatives, something like that.
yeah.
I think that's fine.
great.
And I just want to say, Nick, thanks so much for your insight, and Ashley, because we're all kind of new here and you are really helpful in helping us, you know how things are supposed to work. So I really appreciate your feedback. So, you know, appreciate your help in doing this in the proper way. Appreciate we don't want to ask staff to do something for more than an hour. It's great to hear that. Yeah, but no, it's really important to hear. So you know, appreciate that, and we'll figure this out. So, you know, and just again, this is all driven by me hearing a lot from the community.
Sure.
And I want to get the ball rolling. It's gonna take a while to actually do something. But I just want to get the ball rolling as far as setting the issue and then hearing from the public.
So
We'll figure it out with staff, so thanks.
and we appreciate your time and your attention to this item, so thank you so much, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate all your hard work.
Great. So if we wanna look at, just for December, I wanna point out, we did, and I think we're working towards inviting council liaison to the open house, so just wanna mention that, and then, because we're potentially, you know, bringing it's now on a tentative calendar to bring pickleball. As a non-capital, we may need to move some things, so. City staff can take a look at that, if there's something you think we can pull and move to February, we're happy to look at that, but we'll continue to. Navigate the calendar throughout the year.
Council liaison, they're still coming in February though, or tentatively, right?
So it was on the calendar for both, so we'll,
Okay.
tentatively,
Got it.
we will, extend the invite and see.
So I was actually thinking about that, the January calendar is kind of full, so I wouldn't mind agendizing the pickleball tennis discussion for February. I don't know what you think about that, Shirley or anybody else. Because I was looking at the items in January, they involve presentations, and if we have people that are coming to present, I don't know if we want to bump them. Or, just, it seems kind of full, so, anybody else?
February's fun, that gives you guys more time too as well.
Sure.
I don't want you to feel under the gun.
Also the holidays, I feel like you guys, maybe February makes more sense instead of trying to rush it, get something, some information that's not even useful.
Yeah. Great.
I'm sorry, just to confirm, you wanted to leave the invitation for the council liaison both on December and on February?
Sounds
Or
like,
was that
yes,
just?
Yeah,
was that-
that
okay.
sounds good.
Okay.
then we'll add, racket sports to February.
And then we'll, offline,
Yeah.
you'll schedule a meeting, an agenda meeting with us just to discuss the agenda. All right, great.
We can do it as soon as right after January meeting, but we'll do one for January too.
Yeah.
Any other comments on the tentative agenda? Okay, moving on to the next item, individual commissioner reports. Would any commissioner like to make a short report out on items of interest to the entire commission?
Sure. I've spoken to some people who enjoy the aquatics facilities here at the Burgess Pool. And they have forwarded some concerns about the bathing suit spinners. That I think the one in the women's locker room has been out of order for close to a year. And I don't know if the men's room one has recently stopped working or not, but the concern was, will there be new spinners in there? And will they be provided? And if not, could they raise money themselves and buy it and put it in?
Sure, I'm happy to add an update to that.
Okay.
So we had we're working on getting suit spinners, so there's suit spinners at each location at Valhaven. The background is that Team Sheeper owns the suit spinners currently at Burgess. So Team Sheeper was trying to get somebody to come in and fix those. That was unsuccessful, so we just ordered yesterday new suit spinners for Burgess, and I don't know the delivery date on top of my head, but once we get them delivered, we'll get Public Works to install those, and there's drainage and there's electrical and all of that, so they're like for like, so it should be a pretty easy transition, so yes.
Well, I anticipate many pleased and satisfied.
Yes, it's
residents
important.
of the city of Menlo Park.
Yeah.
Once those are installed, so on behalf of all of our fellow pool users, thank you.
Yes, of course, happy to help.
Any other reports?
I do know that, we've gotten, I will speak for all dog owners then, in Menlo Park, and I was also approached by someone recently when walking my dog. And this individual is actually a cat walker, she walks her cats. And this may be the reason why I see, dog park enforcement as a potential agenda item. In that there are many people who choose to let their dogs off leash. in the park and not necessarily within a dog run, because there is not one in many parks. I'm personally not a fan of a dog park, even if there were one, my dogs would not be going in there. But I'm a fan of them existing for those that want to go and off leash their dogs. Reason being is my dogs are not friendly. So when a dog is off leash and approaches my unfriendly dog who is leashed, I have no control except to back up. And it happened to me, I backed into a tree and that was as far as I could go. And my dog would have bitten this other dog. This woman that I mentioned who approached me on the street walks her cat. And similarly, an off leash dog came after her cat and she had to hold her cat way above her head and get scratched, considerably to avoid this altercation. I believe this may be why this agenda item is on there for dog park enforcement, but I don't know if it doesn't open up a larger discussion for dog runs in more of our parks. And I know this is probably a very touchy subject, similar to pickleball. I'm sure it's one we've exhausted. I personally haven't been present for many of those conversations, but I do think dog parks and dog runs where people can off leash their pets when they choose to are very, desirable for many of our, community members. I also think they could be a revenue generator. Because for me, as someone who would not want to bring my dog in there with any other dogs, I would rent that out for an hour just for my dogs. And there are no other places like that. So it not only caters to friendly dogs and uneducated or untrained owners who will take their dogs off leash with no recall, but it allows those of us that have dogs that don't do well in those environments to potentially leverage that and generate some revenue for the town. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It is, and on here as an unscheduled, item, and it is spurred that we can potentially schedule that, and we will have an update on the, park ranger program after the first 90 days of February, so maybe we'll know kind of how that's going at Bedwell to see if there's any potential elsewhere. So, thank you.
And so to agendize this, we need some kind of staff report to prompt a discussion about dog parks. So, yeah.
It's on the unscheduled future topics, so it's definitely identified as an interest, so
Okay, so,
you can consider that for later months.
okay, that's just like you have a report on, right, from staff, okay. Great.
You reminded me. The Rangers started this week.
December 1st.
Oh,
So
okay,
I'm not sure. Yeah, we're
What's
still
that?
working on everything, so
great.
definitely want to make sure this thing's agendized.
Any other comments or reports? If not, meeting is adjourned at 7:21 PM.